North America, a vast continent, stretching from the frozen Arctic to the humid Gulf. We see its great plains, its towering mountains, its dense forests, and the thousands of rivers that carve through them like veins on a leaf. It is a map we believe to be permanent, a geography we assume was shaped only by the slow, immense forces of ice, wind, and tectonics. We see a world of apparent stillness, a landscape that simply is. And then there is this, Castor canadensis, the North American beaver, a rodent. To many, it is a simple creature of the dusk, an animal defined by its long teeth, its flat tail, its waterproof fur. For centuries, it was seen as a resource to be harvested, a pest to be cleared, a minor character in a much larger story. But this perception, this is a profound illusion. What if we told you this is not merely a rodent? What if we told you it is a hydraulic engineer, possessing an instinctual knowledge of fluid dynamics that rivals our own? What if we said this is an architect, not of simple huts, but of entire ecosystems? And what if we told you that this animal, weighing no more than 60 pounds, declared a continental war on gravity? And what if we told you that this creature did not just live in North America, but built it? This is the story of a force of nature hidden in plain sight. A biological power that sculpted a continent, one stick, one stone, one dam at a time. It is the story of the true engineers of the ecosystem. The beaver's entire life is driven by a single obsessive compulsion, the sound of running water. To the human ear, it is a peaceful murmur, the sound of a healthy stream. To the beaver, it is an intolerable flaw. It is a sign of energy escaping, of a system out of balance, of work yet to be done. This acoustic trigger, this neurological imperative, is the spark that would set in motion a chain of events so vast it would alter the very topography of the land. Its tools are humble, yet perfect. Its teeth, the incisors, are not simple enamel. The front surface is coated in iron, making them orange, making them incredibly hard. The softer dentin behind wears away faster, creating a self-sharpening chisel edge. With these, a mature beaver can fell a 5-inch willow tree in under 3 minutes. Its tail, that iconic flat paddle, is a masterpiece of multifunction. It is a rudder in the water, a brace on land, a warning signal when slapped on the pond surface, and a thermal regulator storing fat for the long, cold winter. But these tools are useless without a plan, and the plan is always the same: stop the water. It begins with a single act of defiance. A small stream, perhaps only a few feet wide, rushes downhill, carrying sediment and snowmelt. A beaver arrives. It selects its site, not at random, but with an innate understanding of the channel's properties. It begins. Trees are felled, always upstream, so the current itself will help transport the building materials. The largest logs are laid perpendicular to the flow. Then the weave begins. Smaller branches are thrust into the mud, angled upstream. A matrix is formed, a chaotic-looking latticework that is, in reality, a precise structure designed to slow the water, not just to block it. This is the critical distinction. A concrete human dam is impervious. It holds back the force until it fails catastrophically. The beaver's dam is permeable. It is a living structure, a semi-porous membrane. It bleeds. It allows water to percolate through, slowly, gently. The pressure is dissipated across the entire structure. Then comes the final brilliant touch. Mud dredged from the stream bed, and stones are pushed into the gaps, plastering the upstream face. The dam seals. The effect is immediate. The stream, once fast, shallow, and loud, begins to choke. The water, stripped of its energy, slows down. It stops. And then, centimeter by centimeter, it begins to rise. It spills over the stream's banks, claiming the dry land of the valley floor. What was a narrow V-shaped channel is now a pond, a wide, still, quiet body of water. The beaver's primary objective is complete. It has created a safe zone. The deep water protects it from predators like wolves and bears. It has created a moat around its lodge, a fortress of sticks and mud with a hidden underwater entrance. It has created a refrigerator, allowing it to cache branches underwater for winter food, accessible even when the surface is frozen solid. It has succeeded. But for the surrounding ecosystem, the revolution has just begun. The first victims of this new hydraulic regime are the trees. The great ancient trees of the floodplain, the towering cottonwoods, the aspens, the firs that required dry, stable soil, are now standing in stagnant water. Their roots, starved of oxygen, begin to rot. They drown where they stand. Over months and years, they die. The forest becomes a pale, silent graveyard of skeletal trunks. From the ground, it is a scene of utter destruction. But this death is merely a transaction. It is the price of admission for a new world. The moment the water slows, things begin to fall out of it. Silt, sediment, nutrients, and organic matter, which were once being flushed uselessly downstream out to the sea, are now captured. The pond becomes a nutrient sink, a giant battery for the landscape. The water that eventually does seep through the dam is cleaner, purer. The system is filtering itself. This new, warm, shallow, and nutrient-rich water is a paradise for new life. Algae blooms, the very foundation of the food web. Microscopic organisms multiply by the billion. This explosion of food attracts new arrivals. Insects, which could never lay their eggs in the fast-moving stream, now colonize the pond. Dragonflies, damselflies, and mayflies fill the air. This insect bloom, in turn, draws in the next wave. Amphibians, frogs, and salamanders, whose soft-shelled eggs require still, safe water, arrive in droves. Their chorus replaces the sound of the running stream. Fish, who previously struggled in the shallow, fast current, now find a deep, complex refuge. The pond becomes a nursery for young salmon and trout, who hide from predators among the submerged branches. Soon, new predators arrive. Ducks, geese, and herons descend to feast on the fish and frogs. Muskrats move into the pond's edges. Otters and mink patrol the new hunting grounds. And the dead trees, they are not wasted. They are apartment complexes. Woodpeckers drill into the soft, decaying wood. The cavities they abandon are claimed by owls, by songbirds, by wood ducks. The beaver, in its destructive act of killing the forest, has created a housing boom. This cascade is what ecologists call a keystone effect. The beaver is a keystone species. It is the single stone at the top of an arch that holds the entire structure together. Remove the beaver, as conservation biologist Dr. Ilara Vance has written, and the entire ecosystem arch collapses into a ditch. But add one, and it builds an oasis of biodiversity from nothing but water and wood. The beaver is not just an architect, it is a farmer. The trees it prefers to eat, aspen, willow, cottonwood, are not killed by its harvest. These trees have evolved to be cut. When a beaver fells an aspen, the root system, still very much alive, responds with vigor. It sends up dozens of new shoots, a thicket of young, tender saplings. The beaver has, in effect, pruned its own orchard, guaranteeing a sustainable food supply for generations. Even the valley's largest inhabitants are drawn to this new reality. Moose, the largest deer in the world, descend from the high forests to wade into the ponds, feeding on the rich aquatic vegetation. The landscape has been transformed from a simple two-lane highway of a stream into a complex, sprawling, vibrant city of life. But this immediate transformation is only the beginning. The beaver's true power is not measured in years, but in centuries. let us stand on this same valley floor, 100 years later. The original dam is still here, now a massive, permanent earthwork, perhaps 12 feet high and hundreds of feet long. It is no longer just a wall of sticks, but a living part of the landscape, overgrown with grasses, willows, and shrubs. The original Beaver family has expanded. Their descendants have built new dams, both upstream and downstream. What was once a single pond is now a staircase, a sprawling complex of interconnected ponds, wetlands, canals, and marshes stretching for miles. The very shape of the land has changed. For a century, this system of dams has been capturing sediment. Every spring flood, every rainstorm, has delivered tons of topsoil, which, instead of being washed away, has settled on the bottom of these quiet ponds. The ponds have slowly, inexorably filled in. The valley floor itself has been raised. The narrow V-shaped ditch carved by the original stream is gone. In its place is a wide, flat, expansive floodplain, saturated with water. This is no longer a forest. It is a beaver meadow. The water, which was once a single thin line, is now a diffuse, sprawling presence. It is stored in the ponds, but more importantly, it is stored in the ground. The entire valley has become a giant natural sponge. The water table has been raised for acres in every direction. This slow release mechanism has fundamentally altered the continent's hydrology. It ensures that water is available even in the driest of droughts, as the saturated earth gently feeds the streams below. And here we find the greatest ecological irony. The very trees the beavers drowned a century ago and the silt their dams captured have decomposed into the richest, blackest, most fertile soil on the planet. By destroying the forest, the beaver created the foundation for North America's great prairies and meadows. Millennia later, when human farmers arrived, it was these exact, flat, fertile, well-watered beaver meadows they sought out to build their first farms and civilizations. They were farming on a foundation built by a rodent. This new reality, however, was not inevitable. To understand the power of the beaver, we must look at what happened when it was taken away. Beginning in the 17th century, a different engineer arrived, Homo sapiens. Driven by a global demand for fur, European trappers swept across the continent. The beaver, with its thick, waterproof pelt, was the primary target. It was an extermination. In what was perhaps the greatest and least understood ecological catastrophe in American history, the beaver was hunted to near extinction. By 1900, from a population of perhaps 400 million, fewer than 100,000 remained. The engineers were gone, and the continent began to unravel. The dams, no longer maintained, failed. They breached one by one. The Great Thirst began. The ponds that had held water for centuries drained away, often in a single catastrophic flood. The massive reserves of water stored in the ground, the sponges of the meadows, dried up. The water table plummeted. The streams, now unchained, began to flow with renewed destructive force. They became incised, cutting deep, narrow ditches into the very sediment the beavers had spent millennia accumulating. The fertile topsoil, no longer held in place, was flushed out to sea. The biodiversity that depended on the wetlands vanished. The ducks, the frogs, the fish, the moose, they left or they died. The rivers, disconnected from their floodplains, became sterile and simplified. The continent became a drier, simpler, more brittle place. It was only then, in the silent spring of the beaverless valleys, that we began to understand what we had lost. We had not just lost an animal. We had lost the continent's water managers. We had lost the force that built resilience, that stored water for the dry years, and that captured the land's fertility. But the story of the beaver engineer reveals even more profound impacts, ones that resonate with our most pressing modern challenges. Consider fire. In the dry western landscapes, wildfires are a natural and terrifying force. Yet, as satellite imagery now confirms, the beaver's engineering provides an absolute defense. When a wildfire rages through a forest, it hits a beaver meadow, and it stops. The saturated ground, the high water table, and the wide green network of ponds and marshes create a firebreak that is often the only green, unburned part of the landscape visible from space. The beaver, in its quest for safety, provides refuge for the entire ecosystem from conflagrations. Consider climate. We are now in a desperate search for ways to pull carbon from our atmosphere. We have overlooked a master. Beaver wetlands are carbon sinks of immense power. The cold, oxygen-poor mud of the pond bottoms slows decomposition to a crawl. The organic matter, the leaves, the branches, the silt is not released back as carbon dioxide. It is trapped. It is sequestered for thousands of years in deep, peaty soil. The beaver is a climate warrior, fighting a battle for planetary stability from the bottom of its pond. It all began with a sound, the murmur of running water, an offense to the ear of a small, determined mammal. From that simple, neurological irritation, an empire of engineering was born. A simple rodent, with an obsession to build, refashioned a continent. It challenged the flow of water, and in doing so, changed the land, the air, and the fire. It created a world of staggering complexity and resilience. It shows us that the world we inhabit was not a static stage, waiting for humans to arrive. It was, and is, a dynamic sculpture, constantly being shaped, molded, and re-engineered by its inhabitants. This animal challenges our very definition of intelligence and design. The beaver holds no blueprints. It attends no university of engineering. It acts from pure biological imperative. And yet, the result of its work is a system of water management so sophisticated, so beneficial, and so sustainable that we, the new engineers, are only now beginning to copy it. We call it process-based restoration, or nature-based solutions. The beavers just call it home. The history of Earth is not just geology, it is biology. It is the story of life itself as a geological force. From the first microbes that poisoned the air with oxygen, to the great forests that sequestered carbon, to the beaver that designed the watershed. We are not the first engineers. We are merely the most recent and the most dangerous. The beaver built a world of resilience. We have built one of fragility. As we look out over a landscape, over a quiet river valley, we must ask ourselves, what forces truly shaped this place? What hidden architects are at work, even now, right beneath our feet? The beaver's legacy is a profound reminder that we are not separate from this web of life. We are a part of an ancient, ongoing story of engineering. And we have much to learn from the masters who came before us.